Welcome back to the Student Pages Magazine channel. I am thrilled to introduce the phenomenally talented Landon Tewers from the Plotting You. Landon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, dude. I appreciate it.
Now, before we started chatting, we were actually just mentioning about the fact that before you've even hit Europe, you've had a sellout tour across Germany, Netherlands. 4 of your 5 shows in the UK are already sold out, with Nottingham almost on the cusp of actually being a sellout itself. So within that, how does that actually make you feel as for yourself and the actual band as well?
Honestly, like I said before, so we haven't gone since COVID. So it's been like 6, almost 7 years, I think. And anytime we had gone prior, I think we had gone over maybe 3 or 4 times, and it was honestly not very good for us. I don't know why. It was just like couldn't seem to crack it for whatever reason. Well, there was like a couple decent markets that we do okay in, but for the most part, it just kind of felt like we were beating a dead horse. So yeah, we tried a couple times to come back since COVID, but nothing really made sense. So we were like, maybe let's just try a headliner, see how that goes. You know, if it still sucks for us, then maybe it's not meant to be. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I did not expect a single show to sell out. So yeah, this is definitely very shocking and very cool. So I'm excited. It's going to be cool to come over playing a headlining set too, because it's kind of like we can play a super long set with tons of songs that we haven't got to play over there yet. So yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm excited. So I've been working with both Acres and Invent Animate, been producing and songwriting with them for Acres for about a year now, and then Invent for a couple years, off and on, like in between tours and stuff like that. So us and Invent have been friends for almost a decade now. So they were kind of like a no-brainer. They're just a good hang, good people to be around. Such an incredible band too. And they haven't done a whole lot of Europe either. So we're like, we wanted to be around people that we know we're going to have a good time with. And then Acres, like I said, I started working with them like a year ago, and they're awesome dudes, a great band. So I was like, yeah, this makes sense. They're also I think they're from the UK also. So just felt like a no-brainer. Just bring out a bunch of friends, have fun.
Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And it's phenomenal that you're coming over to Europe, but taking it back a step to when you first started. How did you first get involved in music?
So I was in a band before Plot. It was just like dudes that I kind of grew up, like we are all from the same city and stuff like that for the most part. Yeah, I started playing with them. They got signed before I joined the band, and then things started falling apart like 2 years in. And I started Plot as kind of like a side project from that, just for fun. As my old band was kind of starting to fade away and stuff, I kind of decided I wanted to go down the route of just producing and songwriting. But then Plot randomly just got a record deal offer out of the blue. And I was like, well, I'm young. I might as well, things like this don't happen very, very often. So I was like, I might as well just follow down this path and see where it takes me. So almost broke up like 1,000 different times, but somehow we managed to push through it all and stick through.
That's amazing. Now you've got your upcoming EP Volume 3 out in November, and that features your newest single, Been Here Before. Inspiration behind the music.
For this one, it kind of started just the drum beat. We'd never really done a song like that song, where it's kind of like really stripped back, like really just focusing on it's almost to me, it's just drums and vocals. That's all I hear when I hear that song, because that's kind of like, that was the frame that started it all. But yeah, I really liked that drum beat, and I'd always wanted to write a song to that type of beat, kind of like a Travis Barker, like pop punk type feel, but put my own spin on it. So that was kind of like, at least for like the instrumental, I just really wanted to try something in that lane. So that came together pretty quickly. I think I wrote it about a year ago now. Been sitting on it. The last half where it gets like really soft, that was like a new addition. That was like actually just like a week or 2 before the song had to be turned in. I was just like, it's something about it. Like, I loved the song, but I was like, I feel like it's missing something. So yeah, I just sat down and started experimenting with different things. And I felt like that kind of concluded the overall like theme of the song too. Because this song is pretty much about just like, being in a relationship and feeling like you're kind of toxic to each other, but there's something there that's kind of like holding you both there. And things get tough in relationships, in any type of relationship dynamic, and kind of, sometimes you have to step away from it, but sometimes it is worth pushing through and just working with that person because you care about them and love them. You don't want to give up on the people that you care about. And that's kind of like the overall theme of just like, I know it sucks, it's hard right now, we're both kind of going through our individual things, but like, we care about each other and we can push through it. So yeah, that's kind of the overall theme of it, which is cool because I felt like I'd never really written about anything like that specific, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was cool. I'm really stoked on how it turned out.
Within that, like the actual video, because I was having a watch of the video, and it's got a very interesting artistic choreography to it. Notably about you've got the imprints of the butterflies and the moths, and then you've got the bats as well, but then you've also got the dancing within that as well. So how did that actually marry up with the lyrics that were actually when it was actually being formulated?
Our video guy, his name's George. I'm not going to try to say his last name. I butcher it every time. He's from Colombia, I believe. He's been doing all of our videos for the past like year and a half. So pretty much like the whole system we have is I show him the songs, give him like a couple of months to like just feel it out and like see what sparks inspiration, and then I also send him lyrics as well to kind of like, you know, have a deeper connection with it. And honestly, like we kind of had a say in like the first few video ideas that pitched to him, but after like really just giving him full control over everything, we're just like, dude, we need to just back off and let him do his thing, because this guy knows what he's doing. Like he's a genius, like an actual, like a legitimate brilliant artist. I kind of just trust him with it at this point. You know, I think he puts his own spin on, you know, like what inspires him about the songs and like his interpretation of it, and he really just makes something unique out of whatever's going on in his awesome brain. So yeah, there's just a complete trust with him to just do what he wants, and honestly, he's never let us down at all. So I couldn't tell you like specifically what every shot means or anything like that, but whatever he's doing, I just let him keep cooking. He's brilliant. So
specific to your music, how would you describe your music and the genre that you actually focus on?
It's hard to say. I know we get lumped into like the metalcore world, you know, just because there are elements of that sound. I just feel like we're just like a rock band, you know what I mean, that has elements of different things, because I feel like we have just as many elements of pop influence as we do like the metal, you know what I mean? Like I approach every song differently. I could kind of just go into everything blank, and especially these days, thankfully to our fans, they kind of have allowed us to just do whatever we want and not really have to feel like we have to fit inside any kind of box or anything like that. Over the past like 5 to 7 years, we've really experimented a lot with a lot of different sounds, and like people have pretty much taken it with open arms. So again, thankfully we have a really awesome fan base that supports what we do and allows us to keep doing our bullshit. So
well, to be fair, you're clearly doing something very right. And
thank you, I appreciate it.
It's a real testament to not only the obviously your fans, but you know the lyrics, the music that you produce, and the people that you surround yourself in, and which actually leads me into the next question around those who inspire us to the path to success.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all my friends, like since I started the band, have been really, really supportive. Have always like been good cheerleaders, and like I've always been there for me even in like the tough times. You know, like touring gets hard and like feel like you miss out on things back home, but it's like every time I'd go home, people would just be like excited to catch me up on things, and like didn't make me feel excluded just because I wasn't there or anything like that. Also family too, especially the last, like I don't think a lot of my family really got it at first. They all thought screamo was lame, and you know, they just didn't get it. It was just stupid screaming music to them. But I think over the years they've kind of gradually come around to it and have seen like the growth, that it wasn't a complete waste of my time. Very supportive family. My wife is insanely supportive. You know, she's kind of like my I test everything out on her to see if it works.
That's brilliant.
She's very honest. Yeah, she's not afraid to tell me if something sucks or I need to like reevaluate something. So so that's nice. But honestly, I would have to say Josh and Ethan from the band, our bass player and guitar player, us three have been in since the start, but those two have like really saved me out of a lot of tough times. You know, like I said earlier, we've almost broke up like 1,000 times, and that's pretty much just because of me. Like mentally, I was just not handling it well, being gone so much. And I don't know, they were always there for me and kind of reminded me like why we're there, and you know, and just like really pushed me to get better mentally and, you know, stay focused and, you know, see that, you know, there's a bigger picture here and we just have to get through these tough times. Because I mean, any job is going to have its shitty parts, you know, that's just inevitable. But yeah, I mean, being gone on the road all the time, especially sometimes like 6 to 8 months out of the year, that's like, it can really start to crush you mentally and even like spiritually. They're like brothers to me, you know, we've helped each other out through a lot of tough times, and yeah, they're like family. So I owe them a lot of credit. We would definitely not still be a thing if not for them pushing me forward and carrying me on their back here and there, you know.
Well, that's amazing. And you kind of touched on something rather specific there, because, you know, from a mental health and success side, they go hand in hand. And specifically with students who are listening to this, who are starting off on their journey, how would you say, from your own experience, have you worked to actually find the balance between the two? Because it is a case of, as you say, working through those tough times, but equally getting your being able to find the strength to push yourself forward so you can actually continue on.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's really hard. I mean, I touched a little bit on just like, being gone and stuff, like missing out on weddings, funerals, friends, from back home going through really hard times and you can't be there physically for them. I've missed out on a lot of like really big monumental things in my life, because of our work. And yeah, that can be really taxing mentally, just feeling like detached from what's going on, even down to like even pets being in bad health and stuff like that. Like it can be really hard. But like I said, I mean, just having that support system is everything, having good people around you that genuinely care. I mean, that's everything. You just got to surround yourself with good people. Otherwise, you're going to go down a slippery slump pretty quick, and I've seen it happen to a lot of people I've toured with. We've toured with people that have ended up committing suicide and stuff like that just because they didn't have proper support systems around them, and they fell bad vices, drugs, alcohol, things like that. It can be really hard, like especially touring in a place you're congested with all these people in a bus all the time. You don't really get alone time, so it's like it's hard to like process a lot of things because it's just like constant stimuli. Like there's always something happening. And like, I don't know, sometimes I get home from tour and I'm just like, I have so much to process, you know what I mean? Because so much happened in such a long period of time. I tried therapy. I tried, getting into reading a lot of like self-help type things and meditating, things like that. And, all those were definitely very beneficial. But I think more than anything, though, just having quality people that genuinely care. I don't think anything competes with that, So I'm very fortunate in that sense. I know not everybody gets to be in a band with their best friends that, genuinely care about your well-being. But yeah, if I were to give advice to anybody, if you're gonna be in a band, make sure you over like the best players, pick people that care about you, that are quality people, that are gonna lift you up when you're down, because that's everything.
Oh, that's no, and that very much holds true, and that's actually very very generous of you to actually share that. Looking back to when you first started, if is any advice that you would give yourself looking back, going on your adventure?
I'd probably tell myself to like chill out on partying so much, you know what I mean? Like we back in the early days, we went pretty hard. I mean, and it was fun at the time, it was just like, I mean, I was a kid. I started touring immediately after I turned 18, so yeah, made a lot of stupid mistakes, did a lot of the typical things that a young person would do on tour with unlimited freedom, yeah, I'd probably just tell myself to chill out a bit. Yeah, maybe just call home a little bit more often, because I felt like I was just like, I was in my own world. I kind of didn't check in with people back home very often. I was just kind of like so excited to just be doing, living this life that I had dreamed of. I think in the beginning, I definitely lost touch with family and friends back home at first. I think that was a big mistake I made. I think it kind of damaged some relationships for a little while, but I mean, I was lucky and fortunate enough that, I was able to mend those later on. But yeah, it's hard. Like it really is hard to maintain relationships with people when you're gone so much, but it is very important, especially family, making sure to check in and make sure everybody's okay and let them know that you still care and want to know what's going on. But yeah, I would have to say that just chill out a little bit.
But within that, looking at the band and the journey that you've been on, what would you say that's been your biggest challenge over the years?
Honestly, yeah, like I would definitely have to say probably the mental health thing. I mean, it's just can be really rough, that. And like, I mean, we went through phases of, like I said, like partying too much, stuff like that. That was like a challenge because I mean, it's hard we were in a van for almost 10 years, so we just had to sleep in benches all the time. So it was hard to sleep without consuming some kind of substance, alcohol or smoking weed till we pass out. Like definitely isn't healthy. So yeah, I mean, that was a tough one, but yeah, I definitely got to say mental health was definitely the hardest. Because it's such such a glamorous thing in some aspects, especially being in a band. It's like just living out of a backpack and stuff like that. And it was hard. So yeah, that was definitely the hardest. And I probably should have gotten therapy a lot earlier. And I had, just a lot of childhood trauma and stuff like that I was also dealing with internally, I never, saw anybody professionally about it or anything. So I don't know. I was just out there making a mess. And yeah, it was hard, but I mean, I'm very fortunate to be at a place now where life kind of worked out in a pretty cool way, and we get to space tours out a little bit more. I kind of get to have a life at home and balance things out a little bit better. But yeah, it was a challenge for sure.
And bring it back to your tour. So you've got your shows coming up imminently in Germany and Netherlands, and then making your way over to the UK. As I said, that there's still tickets available for your Nottingham show. So what can the fans look forward to with your upcoming shows? Is there any specific choreography that you've got set, or?
We've invested quite a bit into the actual like production of the show. I don't want to give too much away about that, but we put Josh, I should say, our guitar player, put a lot of effort in to make the actual production of the live show really something special. I don't think we've ever done any kind of production over in Europe before, so that'll be something brand new for us. But we're playing a lot of songs. I remember we were making the set and I was like, I can't believe I have to do this every night for 2 weeks. It's a lot, and we're playing a lot of stuff over the span of like pretty much all the records. It's probably our most dynamic set in terms of like songs from different records and like big like heavy moments to like really soft stuff. I feel like it's one of our most dynamic sets that we've ever put on. So I think it'll be special. I'm excited.
Oh, amazing. Well, Landon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for everyone for joining in. The Plot and You, they've still got tickets available for the Nottingham show on the 8th of September. Yep. So check the link in this video and get your tickets before they're all sold out. Be sure to check the link in the post below for being here before. It's absolutely awesome. And Landon, again, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm wishing you all the best with the upcoming tour.